Hey guys, welcome back to PETV. That is short for Political Entertainment Television, where we talk about politics, entertainment, or both in general. And we are following up on gamers blacklist devs who celebrate Charlie Kirk's murder from Clownfish TV. Um, it has been a wild few days. A lot of news is just constantly popping up regarding Charlie's assassination. Like Matt Walsh, I should do a video reacting to him. Same with Steven Crowder. Um, in fact, it looks like Black Conservative Perspective brings up woke Black Texas Tech student arrested for some where she looks like she fucks around and finds out. So there's just so much news that's just coming out it's like almost every 5 minutes I find something new just comes out, and it's just way too much for me to catch up on. So hopefully when things start packing up, things should be a lot more better. So I really hope that some results happens, because according to the governor of Utah, I think tomorrow, on Tuesday, the charges for the assassin will be decided. And there's also a post on Facebook that says that Erica Kirk can decide whether the assassin gets the death penalty. And before we get into it any deeper, I just want to point out that she should definitely give him the death penalty, as well as making it public. Because if we do not send a message to these people and tell them, hey, you cannot get away with assassination. It's one thing to dislike and just spew hateful words, fine. But when you assassinate someone for free speech, as well as speech that was so effective that it would destroy your entire worldviews, you're crossing the line. There is no reason to assassinate anybody. And I can prove it because I think, for example, Destiny, in the last video I uploaded that it even mentioned him, he doesn't condemn the violence that his political party has been doing. He doesn't condemn the murder of Charlie. He doesn't condemn the murder of the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. He somehow thinks that the man who died when Trump and the assassination attempt failed, it ended up killing up someone who I think was a firefighter. He didn't condemn it, and then he definitely thinks that Charlie Kirk deserved the murder. And it's at that point where it's like, well, you're not even spewing free speech anymore. You're just spewing not even legal free speech. You're spewing exactly the thing that you swore to destroy. It's like that Jedi. It's like when the Star Wars 3, when Obi-Wan tries to convince Anakin to change sides, or I don't know. I haven't watched Star Wars in a long time. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and react to Clownfish TV and talk about gamers blacklist devs who celebrate Charlie Kirk's murder.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about gamers keeping track of who is actively celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. So a lot of people squawking now about being put on a blacklist, but so many of those people kept blacklists themselves.
Oh yeah, we've been seeing it on comics and games or whatever. You know, people that they seem to be on the right, and they were doing whisper networks and all this other stuff. But you know, it's okay when they keep lists.
Right. So they don't like it when the tables are turned, and that's really what this whole thing is about. Is they don't like it when the tables are turned. So
They
we're
didn't
going to
like it about Sweet Baby Inc. either, but that's another story.
No, they didn't, and because Sweet Baby Inc. that list I think helped tank so many games, and studios need to be afraid of gamers it's not even really a political thing at this point. It's just like you need to be afraid of the power of the consumer, because the consumer can make or break your company. And if enough gamers get fed up and they're like, you know what, I'm not going to support that company because, you know, they've got people working there that do this, that, or whatever else, they're in for a very rude awakening.
It is objectively true, because the consumer who pays the company for the product can vote with their wallet, and a company could go bankrupt. I mean, that's taking it lightly. Like, it's not probably possible if a lot of people boycott a company, but it is very similar to how Target, Bud Light, Walmart, Cracker Barrel as well, a lot of companies that had gone woke push a lot of stupid agendas, propagandas, and just making dumb decisions that turn people away. We're going to go over a little list here. First, one of my personal favorite scandals from companies like Bud Light, they decided to get a transgender to advertise Bud Light. I'm not sure how disturbing that is, to have a man who think is a woman be the face of a liquor company or a beer company. I don't really drink alcohol or anything from Bud Light, so why would I be concerned? So, but either way, after the many backlashes from Bud Light, they had to pivot and completely undo the damage and forget about Dylan Mulvaney. I ever wonder what happened to the guy? I haven't heard anything about Dylan Mulvaney since the whole moment when the last time I think I even saw him was when he left the United States to not live in a transphobic country. Why doesn't he just go free Palestine? I'm certainly he's going to get a kick out of it. Then, of course, one of my other favorites of how wokeness destroys a company is Target. They have been selling LGBT merch. For example, a tuck-friendly one-piece swimsuit, which is honestly the weirdest thing that could ever come out of humanity's ass, because I don't remember biological men who think are women can wear a one-piece swimwear. I know for a fact that women look better in women's swimwear, but either way, Target had decided to have a bunch of Pride Month, LGBT plus, etc., whatever, placed at the very entrance of every Target, just so that kids can see it. A lot of people have called it out, and they eventually backtracked. They pivoted to moving into the far back where kids don't get so easily exposed to it. I don't remember whether if it was a successful, but apparently it was so successful. I think, as if I recall, Target eventually got rid of it, as well as making diversity, equity, and inclusion hires. Or no, that's probably Walmart. Walmart did that too. Walmart did that. It's just amazing how going woke just leaves a company to go broke, and it is pretty basic, to be honest. So let's get back to this.
And normally, and I want to be very clear, a couple things. One, neither one of us watched Charlie Kirk.
I didn't even know who he was.
I barely knew who he was. I knew of him. I've seen some clips come up, obviously, now since the murder. And, you know, my opinion on this is, regardless of whether or not you agreed with him, if you condone murder and you condone political violence and you condone domestic terrorism, I mean, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing than, hey, I don't like who you voted for, or hey, I've got a different opinion on gay rights or whatever. That is a totally different...
It's a totally different situation compared to not liking somebody or having a difference of opinion in a political sense because they vote for someone different. I may disagree with how some of my family may or friends vote politically because they could end up voting for someone who has no idea what they're doing. Like, for example, some of my family who voted for Joe Biden. Terrible idea because Joe Biden was definitely the worst president we've ever had. And it's just bad.
Different thing than, hey, I'm cool with murder and I'm cool with assassination if it means I get what I want.
Yeah, I know, and I know you're really surprised by it. I'm not. To be completely honest with you, given what I've seen in the last few years,
Yeah,
I wasn't surprised at all.
Well, again, like I said before, what was heartbreaking for me and eye-opening for me, and I'm not, it's not, trust me, it's not everybody, but I did have to unfollow some people I've been friends with for a long time on Facebook because these are people I thought that were like middle of the road Democrats, and they were even like, yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Sucks to be him, sucks for his family. Oh, well, maybe they shouldn't have married a Nazi. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, if you're so far gone that you think murder's cool and you're advocating, like literally advocating for more political violence, and I mean, you shouldn't even be allowed in public. I'm gonna be honest, like you're dangerous, right? So we're gonna talk about this.
Make insane asylums great again. Put these people in alligator Alcatraz. Let's see how they like it. Put them in solitary confinement. Put them in a punishment where they have to completely mentally think about this and why that they are so mentally deranged. They're so Trump deranged. They're super Trump deranged, super Charlie Kirk deranged. They're going to be JD Vance deranged. Like, what is next? If these people are going to be incentivized to murder Charlie, how much do you want to bet that they are going to be incentivized to murder someone like Riley Gaines, who is being called a fascist? And mind you, Riley Gaines, who had a really rough time when it came to the fact that a biological man, Will Thomas, I am never going to call him his girl name because that is just stupid. Will Thomas forced himself upon these women by forcing them to accept the fact that he wants to identify as a woman and thinks that he is a woman. And Riley Gaines did not want that. She had to change in a janitor closet because of Will Thomas, by the way. The far left is probably going to go so far as that they'll probably murder her next because she's a transphobe, according to the far left. And honestly, I think Riley Gaines is really sweet. Like, I think she is probably very, very powerful, passionate. Like, she's not even advocating for the things that these weirdos keep on claiming. Like, they're just too far up their ass to even rationalize it. Like, they're not even worth debating anymore since they're more all emotional talk rather than rational conversation.
Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com and get notifications of when we post new videos out there. And also you can check out the audio version of the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts. Spreading out a little bit. We're going to mansplain and womansplain.
Yeah, I was going to say, excuse me. Go ahead. So anyway.
Well, what that means is...
That means you're going to walk with a permanent limp. Anyway.
Let's talk about this. So I've seen a lot of tweets about, and good on, like, look, I'm going to say it again. I know people get pissed at me for, the both side isms or whatever it is.
I don't really care if people are pissed about the both side isms because it's true. If someone was killed on the other side, not saying that they would do that because, clearly they aren't choosing violence. But if someone was batshit enough to do it, we'd be saying the same things.
Absolutely.
It's not even just that. I mean, if the roles were reversed, since these two are not conservatives, they are definitely left, or they're going moderate now. But before then, politically speaking, these two being Democrats, if they saw one of their political leaders get assassinated by a conservative, like, this is literally the twist that comes around when a political opponent that gets murdered by someone else, like if it were a Democrat commentator that gets assassinated, that was assassinated by a conservative, the mainstream liberal media would be all about it, nonstop. It would never shut up about it. It will never quit talking about it. The mainstream liberal media would continue on ramping their mouths off about it. So
in this case, I mean, this is a whole nother level. This isn't just we're having a political disagreement. This is like we literally think it's cool to kill people in public. Oh my God. But I will give props to any company that has, probably a mostly left-leaning staff that comes out and says, hey, murder and political assassination, yeah, those things are wrong, and we will deal with our employees.
That's because they're worried they're going to take a hit financially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No pun
Absolutely
intended.
they are. But beyond that, like, you're not making yourself look any better by openly celebrating murder and death and domestic terrorism. This is Microsoft had it. They said, we're aware of the views expressed by a small subset of our employees regarding recent events. We take matters like this very seriously, and we are currently reviewing each individual situation. Comments celebrating violence against anyone are unacceptable and do not align with our values. That's good. These companies, again, a lot of these companies are definitely left-wing. Nobody's asking you to eulogize Charlie Kirk if you didn't like him. But for God's sake, if you can't say anything nice, just keep your mouth shut. Just be like, oh, okay. That's all you got to do. But when they're actually out there like Gretchen Wieners or whatever the hell her name was over at DC Comics, and they're out there like, yeah, I hope the bullet didn't get cooties from him. That's, it's like, what the hell are you doing? And no company wants to be associated with people that think it's cool to murder people over political disagreements.
Well, only because some people probably personally think it is, but they don't want their company to take a hit.
I'm a little nervous because I have.
Yeah. I mean, it literally will happen that way because, I mean, kudos for at least companies trying to get rid of these people for celebrating Charlie's demise. But you're going to have to do a hell of a lot more better. Like, I mean, realistically, companies like video games, like Microsoft or studios, like, don't bring politics, realistic politics into it. Like what Star Wars did, what Transformers did. Like, it's a gray area for me because it's literally it's literally part of their stories, like their origins, like how Megatron wants to rule Cybertron because he thinks that the methods of I don't even remember at this point. Like, I have not really cared about Transformers that much. As much, like, I've only cared about Transformers from way back then, like maybe 20 or like maybe 20 15 years ago, before Transformers just took a big shit, before Transformers Age of Extinction. Like, my interest for Transformers took a long decline after Transformers Age of Extinction, and then last night kind of broke the back because it just made zero sense. And then Bumblebee kind of did something, but didn't really look that compelling. And then Rise of the Beast just really, really, really was so bad. I was just like, I do not care what happens to Transformers until they can actually figure something out, because it's just not working. And same with Star Wars. I haven't watched a lot of Star Wars anymore. Like, I only cared about like the first 6 movies, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. Pretty much that's it. Like, I've never cared about anything else after that. And like, look, I mean, this is where I kind of actually understand why you should not really talk about politics in a workspace, because you are going to stir the pot. And I know this because at my job that I do, I've been written up twice because I've brought up politics, and literally I got ratted out by some people that are like amongst the LGBT. For example, someone who I worked with honestly, I think she was a pretty big pathetic coward for not even for even confronting me about when I said that, when I made a trans apocalypse joke. And then the second time I got written up, someone else didn't even. I was accused of someone who that worked with said, like, my supervisor told me that the complainant how do you say it? The complainant said that this person talked to you, and I said, well, no, definitely not, because if that did, that would have been a conversation I would have remembered, but it never happened. Like some people, I mean, honestly, the two written ups that I got from just speaking, I think some people are pathetically weak. Like, some of them are just so emotionally unhinged, and like, if they can't even learn to just like instead of just running to a superior, like, no one really likes a tattletale, but sometimes if you're gonna have the balls to even confront someone, at least admit it. Like I don't know, like, it's just such a gray area at this point. Like, you just can't really deal about it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's going to segue right into this. Right into this. Grums put it up, a link to it, but apparently Bethesda's batshit crazy. There's some devs over there. Oh my God. Yeah. And Cosmic Book News, I think, said that he talked to I think it's Matt McGloin. He said he talked to a Bethesda developer before the election in 2016. And it was very obvious they were very, very far left, and they were trying to like single him out because they thought he was like a closet Trump supporter.
Yeah, I was reading it because everybody else was making fun of him and he didn't. That one guy got in his face and was like screaming at him, but he has to be a Trump supporter. And then I guess the guy said, "Well, you might want to take it outside." That he was like, kind of situation.
Yeah, but I've noticed that the terminology has changed ever since. It was very. Since it's very cool to hate Jewish people now, and
that's what I'm saying, because then that makes them those people, so they change the terminology. But then they still are those people. They're the ones that are acting like fascists, with their celebrating murder and all this other stuff. Well, but it's okay when they do it.
I just want to put out there that murdering people whose ideology you do not believe in or with or agree with, that's kind of like the final solution, isn't it? Like, I'm just saying.
It's the final stage, but
well, yeah, it is. I mean, it really is. This is the final straw, I think, for a lot of people, though. I mean, there are people, and look, I want to be honest. There are a lot of people who are on the left, a lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians. We could argue if they're just saying it to say they're next. Cenk from the Young Turks, I will give him props. He's actually out there trying to dial things down a little bit and be like, look, I'm talking to people on the right and the left, and let's all agree, regardless of what you think of Charlie Kirk, let's all agree murder and political violence is bad. Because I'm like, if we can't agree on that as a country, we got some serious problems. But some people didn't get the memo. I think they think everything is online. They don't think that there are real world consequences. And again, at least I'm not asking you to eulogize guy. I don't even know him. I don't even know. I've seen a couple of clips and that's it. But the minute we start advocating for this stuff, we're lost, man. Like, we're done. So you've got to bring it in.
There's lists.
There's a list, yeah. So this is on Steam. So remember Sweet Baby Inc. Detected?
Yes.
So this is basically Charlie Tweets Detected. This is basically developers that have people on their staffs that won't shut the hell up about how awesome it was that this guy got murdered.
Now, to be fair, though, some of these places did step in and do something about it.
Before I started using Farmer's Dog.
I fucking hate ads. Let me know if you guys hate ads. Let me know.
I will give you props. And I know people get pissed at me because I'm like, they're just trying to save their own necks or whatever. They're trying to sneak in
I
some
100%
about.
agree that that's what they're doing. I mean, there's no question.
Or they're trying to sneak in, some about gun control, whatever. I don't.
Yeah, they do that too.
At this point, okay, anything that can be done to dial down the temperature, because I don't think the people on the other side, because they're surrounded by people that think like them, I don't think they have any idea how hot the temperature is getting. So anything to be done to dial down the temperature on that side, I strongly suggest you do it. I'm just saying. So yeah, they have a list of games and devs that worked on these games that said shitty things. And this guy, I think, got fired. The one dev said that I hope the shooter's name is Mario, so Luigi knows his bro got his back, and they fired him. Caravan Sandwich, which actually looked pretty cute. Like a lot of these games I'm looking at, like I know these games, I like these games, but damn, why would you do that?
But I don't know in these cases that people were fired though.
No, game social media accounts celebrated the tragedy of September 10th. I did see that, and I was actually very surprised because that didn't strike me as the kind of dev that would.
Is that why the games are 50% off, 90% off?
90% off. Destiny 2 narrative contributor reposted comparison to victim as 1940s dictator. Oh, gee, I wonder who that is. On Blue Sky, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Oh my God!
Shocker.
Imagine that. Cultural consultant reposted comparison to victim as 1940s dictator on Blue Sky. State of Decay, Salt Sea Chronicles, Hive Swap. Some of these you look at and you look at the company and you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Overwatch. Blizzard's taken action though, I've heard. Various Blizzard employees have expressed celebration on Blue Sky, while Microsoft made vague reference to firings. They weren't specific as to who or what division. Well, they probably don't want to put their people on blast. I mean,
Blizzard's going to be over the top.
Yes. Yes. Again, Blizzard.
Among Us was on the list?
Yeah, that was surprising. Yeah, Blue Sky user claiming to be a dev.
Oh, okay.
Reposted a post that compared Charlie to certain German propagandists.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Is that all you got? Like, I think people, there's very thin history books.
Look, super lesbian animal.
Oh my God, super lesbian animal RPG with furries?
Wow, typical.
What?
And Arcade Spirits that looked like it came right out of a Tumblr comic. Oh, shocker.
Wow.
Shocker. Yeah, I hate to be that guy. Like, I'm all for indie games. I'm all for people making the kinds of games they want to see, and especially if it's a new IP. Like, I don't care. If it's a new IP, I don't care. But there is absolutely positively a certain look for gay Tumblr fanfic. I'm not wrong. There's a certain art style. If it looks like Steven Universe and has that pastel palette and the whatever, and you make sure that there's one of every kind of conceivable person in the game, it's like a Tumblr fanfic, and it is. I'd laugh though if we had a game that was it looked like a Tumblr game, but it was actually really hardcore. Faster Than Light.
Oh, Subnautica, no.
Oh, damn it, Subnautica. Music designer on Blue Sky reposted a pic that called Charlie part of the 1940s German political party. Subnautica's toast at this point, though, because I guess I was talking to Squid King because he's a huge Subnautica fan, and this company came in and bought them, and just they want to turn it into what is it? Freemium game. So with lots of DLC and shit. Perfect Tides, that looks Tumblr adjacent.
No idea.
So this is crazy.
Doom?
Doom. Yeah.
No.
Bethesda. Yeah, again, Bethesda, people there are crazy. And Doom was created under different circumstances. The original Doom, created under different circumstances in different time by different people. Fallout, again, Bethesda. They're basically boycotting Bethesda. Skyrim, Fallout. Now, I will give them props for this. I think this is actually pretty good, too. They're like, hey, these developers either called for the temperature to be dialed down or told people to shut the hell up. And this is Trouble in Paradise. They said, stood up for Charlie on X, support this devil. This one, which I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it looks like this is the most me game ever.
It reminds me almost of City Connection meets Rad Racer. Anyway,
it does, and it looks like Coral Q, the little Japanese
penny
racer cars. Victory Heat Rally, which I'm gonna have to. I'm pretty sure I bought that on launch, and I just haven't had a chance to play it yet. One of the few that defended Charlie on social media and stood up against the mob. Support this developer.
I actually might do that just to show them, hey, you guys stood up for Charlie Kirk, and you guys can have my money. I will give them props for that.
And Lords of the Fallen. That actually doesn't surprise me at all because they were on the, if I remember correctly, they were on the receiving end of cancel culture. One of the few developers I've seen publicly rebuke people celebrating September 10th and will fire anyone who doesn't support this game.
You don't have to agree with the dude, and a lot of these places probably don't agree with him. But there's a difference between I disagree with you, but I understand you have the right to say what you want.
Yes.
That's your opinion. And, ha, 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 they killed him. He's dead. Let's celebrate. Get this person next. Get that person next.
That's never
There's
okay.
a big difference between the two.
Yes.
I mean, you don't.
It kind of reminds me of back in 2019, of late in the middle of the year. I think it was April or August, I think. I don't remember. But this was when the original ugly Sonic design launched, and I originally defended it. And then I realized, wow, I can't believe I was wrong about this. No, the companies like Paramount, if they're going to take an already established IP like Sonic, they need to be reliable to the source material. They got to give Sonic his accurate video game look. And that was one of the most hated designs of all time. And no matter whether if you were a Democrat or a conservative, the design was bad. It wouldn't even matter. Like, everybody knew that it was so bad that both parties were united. Like, it's that kind of unity that convinced a whole movie industry to think back on what they were doing and get to what was a common cause, and that was to give the audience what they want and you'll make your money. And Sonic made the money back. Paramount had successfully since over 5 years ago had been making Sonic movies since, and Sonic the Hedgehog has already had 3 movies. They are already announcing they're gonna have Sonic 4 done in 2027. So it's amazing how sometimes you can have a common opinion regardless of your political stances.
You don't have to agree with him, and that's completely fine. And maybe you do agree with him, and again, that's your opinion. It's completely fine. The problem is when you take it to a violent place where you're demanding people be, same thing happened to other people, and you're celebrating and you're dancing, and you're laughing, and you're making fun of it, and you're saying, do this person next to that. There's a huge difference, okay?
The app is telling you all of it.
Stupid ads.
Yeah,
huge difference.
And that's where, because people are like with me, they're like, well, you're libertarian, you're free speech. I'm like, I'm free speech until you get to terroristic threats. And at that point, you're crossing the line in a lot of ways. You could be, depending on what you say and how you say it and when you say it and who you say it to, you could be breaking the law.
See, I'm going to use, here's where I am. I'm free speech, but you have to understand, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequence. That's what they kept telling everybody. Gina Carano and everybody else, they're making lists. They were calling employers. They were getting people fired. They were doing all kinds of stuff because they voted for Trump or whatever. They didn't like a stupid movie, or they were covering the Amber Heard trial or whatever. Yeah. And they were trying their best to go to the FBI or go to different people's employers to get them fired. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequence. And that's what people are like. So you advocate and laugh about someone being killed and say about killing other people, and I think it's funny, but then you're upset when you get called out for it, or you get fired for it because you were doing something shitty, especially if you're in a position like a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or a nurse or somebody who shouldn't even be saying that at all ever, because you work with people across the board in medical especially.
Yeah, that actually terrifies me. I don't think we really talked about that. There are, and that is really a tipping point for me when you've got people out there who are working as doctors and nurses and teachers and other professionals that interface with your family and could basically hold your life in their hands. And they were out there being like, yeah, this guy deserved to die. And, you know, and the one nurse, she was a pediatric nurse, and she was like, you know, F his kids, F his family. I'm like, oh, yeah, my God, I hope you're never called into a situation where something happens to one of his kids and you decide to just let them die because,
Well, they were
you know,
talking.
it's
There were
Charlie Kirk's kid.
surgeons,
So.
anesthesiologists. You know,
Yeah, they could kill you on the operating
teachers.
table. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, at this point, it is
Oh, I saw a Republican card in their wallet. Oh well.
exactly. This guy came into the trauma room wearing a MAGA hat, so I let him die. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, that at that point is dangerous. I mean, dangerous ideology that you think it's totally fine to let.
Yeah, that's super dangerous, because if a doctor finds out that you are a conservative, voted for Trump, and or Charlie Kirk of all things, your life is on the line. And I don't plan on getting in an accident where it's a life and death situation, but at the same time, though, I would like to be cared for when my life is on the line, but I don't expect myself to be in that situation, because I am not really that big of a voice. I'm not that really that loud. I'm not that strong of a voice, so I can't be the most threatening thing against their ideological worldviews. So, it's just that point where you can't even go a single moment knowing that someone out there is going to do so much bad shit to you just because you vote conservative. Like, are we not convinced that the far left has gone out of hand? I don't know what to tell you guys, but honestly, it's kind of really annoying that this is how it's going to be. So that's going to be it for this video today. Let me know what you guys think. Stay tuned for more details on anything coming up tomorrow. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.